Deze is hartstikke oud en Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I am Jeff Doss. What's up, guys? How's everyone doing? Hope you can hear us loud and clear. And
Mic check 1, 2.
That's right.
Dude, I gotta be quieter. This is gonna be weird. I gotta be quiet. This podcast, as strange as it is, like Alex Dingman being quiet, it's not really a thing. Those two things don't really go together.
Yeah. What's up, man?
But I got all three of my kids down to sleep, and Lindsay's not here.
So
one of them wakes up. So Lindsay was like, "Do you want to call a babysitter while you're on the podcast?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna freaking do that. I'm gonna get him to bed long before." She's like, "There's no way you're gonna do it." Like, I'm gonna do it. Did it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I can't screw it up.
No. Guys, if you don't know, we are sponsored by the Virtual Fight Tour. And also go and check out our patreon.com/main network. We are excited to add more things to that.
Dude, you know what I still haven't seen on the Patreon page? I still haven't watched all of the Hall of Fame stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I got to go back and watch that.
Fun one.
That's just, when I heard you guys talk about it, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. I gotta go. I'm glad you reminded the insiders, because now I gotta go do it.
Yeah, and we have
couldn't be on it.
A couple of people that we are going to have over the next month that are actually either talked about on the show or part of the Martial Arts Internet Network Hall of Fame. So we're going to have a great time doing that. All right, so I'm going to give a little inside to the inside scoop to the insiders. I am on my phone today because I went and got a new laptop as well as a new desktop for the karate. I got like everything for the karate school.
Coming in looking like a guest on Inside Scoop.
Yeah, I know, right? And so my laptop, both of them are still taking forever to transfer over. So it's like it's been doing this all day. So I don't know. So it's one of the struggles. But next week I'll be having a brand new computer, and hopefully everything be smooth and fast, and be having fun with that. So
how's your internet out there? I remember you were telling me your internet was rough.
Oh, it's still awful. Yeah, I still haven't gotten that fixed yet either. That's the next thing too. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. That's funny. Jeff looks like he's trying to save on bills, but wearing a big old hoodie and vest. Yes. That's what I do.
That's funny. My wife did that the other day. Like we were just in the house, and she just put on a jacket, and I'm like, "What? We're inside."
Dude, I do that all the time. Okay, so here's the deal. Like, you can just turn up the heat. It's like, why? Like, this is like, why do that? Especially if it just involves me. Okay, like I'm cold. I don't know if all you guys are. And
I did that when I remember in the days when I had my own apartment, which is, I never lived on my own. I always had a roommate. But I remember doing that when I was like, I had my own apartment, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with these guys. Let me just put on it. I remember doing that a few times. I probably just left the place. But no, not just because, like, let me go put on a coat and hang out on the couch. Like, what? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But all right, it's cool.
No, I don't do that. But we have a little surface heater too. Sometimes I don't know, man. It's crazy, but I guess sometimes you just always stick to those like money saving habits, and I don't know. But how was your Thanksgiving, Leandra? I will not be at Toronto this weekend. No, I will be. This whole month is focused on just things at the school, family, all kinds of stuff like that. So, and I hope they have a great event.
Thanksgiving, huh? So Thanksgiving was cool. Um, you know, I won't get into details, but there was I know you know, but like I don't really feel like sharing it on the show. You know what I mean? Insiders want to know, they can reach out, but there was like happy, sad, some somber moments to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but it was cool, man. We had ourselves a good time. Oh, but you know what? I forgot. Dude, it was a big time bummer at the same time. We didn't do our early Christmas kickoff this year that we always do.
Oh, right.
My
Right.
goodness. Troy Sexton and his wife Katie and my wife Lindsay and I, we always do this early Christmas kickoff in Chicago, and it looks like Christmas threw up
Yeah,
in
it's
Chicago. And it's amazing. All right. It's a great time. You go out, you pretend you're 25, you have yourself a great time. Right?
yeah.
Yeah. So, but he hits me up and he's like, yo,
Comment if you guys are going to Toronto in the comments.
yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool to know. You're going to see, yo, bad news not going to happen. And I was like, dude, you were like Mr. Christmas. I don't want to hear that.
Oh,
That's a
you
lie.
said my middle name is Christmas.
Essentially, right? This dude does more Christmas things that are just over the top
Yeah.
than anybody I know, right? So he's like, no, not going to happen. Parents are out. Can't get anybody to watch the kid. Not going to happen. I tried. I'm like, bring them. We'll figure it out. It wasn't going to happen. So I was like, it sucked. You know what I mean? So Lindsay took the opportunity in a day, like a half a day. She decorated the entire house. You see, look at this backdrop.
I see.
I don't have the backdrop I used to have, which totally bummed me out. The pod was great.
Yeah.
I think I might just keep these up year round because this is a cool backdrop. Am I right?
I do.
So she did this over all the windows in the house had this. There's a lot of windows, right? Everything. I almost want to like take you on a tour. Maybe we'll do that for the Patreon.
Yeah, we'll have to
See
do
what
that.
she did. So then for the first time, like my house is obnoxiously tall, right? Like I don't actually own a ladder that's possible to go that high, right? I got a 30-foot ladder. It will not reach my roof. I don't understand why my house is built this tall, right? So got a company come out, fantastic deal. Couldn't have bought these lights for this price, but they put them up, outlined the windows, did the roof line, everything. So we are Christmasing it up in this house, man. So I'm stoked for that. I don't know. What about you guys? You guys got deco?
We did not this year. Normally we do. Like, man, we just like enjoy just everybody being around and being in town. You know, you have, you know, the daughter coming back from college and just family, everybody just enjoying being together. Also I had like my cousins in town, which normally aren't in town. So that was just a cool thing. Then you also had World Cup, right? So that was fun for all three of the kids are soccer players and enjoyed that. So there was a theater that had, you know, where everyone can go in and watch that. So they went and did that for both the games, and that was a lot of fun.
Wait, time.
Yeah.
It was fun for them. They're into it. That's their lifestyle. That's their sport. That's their game. Was it actually fun for you?
So, yeah. So I like watching soccer, okay? And I like going to live events, okay? But hold on, I'm sorry. I'm typing this up. I'm trying to do the producer job on the phone while doing it. It's a little crazy. So I apologize for you guys seeing my fingers. But
just seeing your clean hands, man. It's all good. If you ever wanted to know if Jeff has clean hands, there they are.
There you go. So I think it's a lot of fun. I like the atmosphere that soccer brings, right? We went when Chelsea came over to do one of their in-state, you know, exhibitions, like a friendly with the Charlotte team. That was so much fun. It was just the vibe and energy and the chants and everything. That's cool. I really like that's what I like about soccer. I don't know much about the U.S. team or what all is going on. I'm just getting into like the EuroLeague soccer and the English Premier League, trying to understand all that. And that's usually from my son, from the youngest. So it's just kind of crazy, right? So I don't really know. It's just so many different leagues and to keep up with. it's kind of like karate. Okay, so if I actually
okay, this is true.
explain this to an outsider, I'd be like, okay, so here's NASCA. So here's how I had to compete in NBL. Now here's the difference in ISKA, and here's the difference in WACO and WKC, and like, whoa, what? I mean, explaining it's actually more similar to soccer than boxing, because boxing, at least the rules are the same. Boxing, there's so many different world titles and W this, W this, but the rules are the same in all of them, right? In sport karate, sport martial arts, the rules are different in each one. And so it's really interesting, right? And that was the other thing I wanted to do this weekend, what I was supposed to do this weekend, was go down to WrestleCade and go down to North Carolina and go to the big wrestling convention and also see my favorite wrestler, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, return. He was the reason why I got into martial arts. And so it's been a big deal for me to go and meet him. And I just haven't been able to make it work. This was the perfect chance to. He was only 2 hours away. I should have gone and done it. But I don't know why I don't pull the trigger.
Okay, you kind of brushed over something real quick.
Go.
What was the reason you started martial arts?
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. All right. He was my favorite pro wrestler. He used to come to the ring with a karate uniform and belt, and he was a black belt. I don't know if he actually was. I still don't know if he actually was an actual black belt. He might have gotten a couple honorary ones with all of his
after his theatrics have gone to where they were.
He was a born guy that kind of did a whole like ninja type, martial arts type vibe when he went to the WWF and everything. But he was the biggest star in this area even before I was born. But yeah, so there's all that. So it was just a fun weekend of doing different things. Get some shopping in, I had a big week the week before with holiday sales and stuff. So, just making stuff happen, man. Let's get to one of our topics. And here's the deal.
Get right into this. We
are known, all right, as pretty much the Korean podcast, Korean Forums podcast. All right. It's just kind of become that.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It didn't intend to be that way, but man, did it go that way.
Right. Myself and Michael Brume have kind of created a group of people that we're going to be talking to try to figure out rules for this Korean challenge and present it. I'm supposed to be talking to the AAU Taekwondo guy coming up this week. I was actually supposed to do that yesterday, just didn't make it work. But and hopefully he'll be on sometime soon. So we got lots of cool things coming up with that Korean Forums. But we are going to go into our favorite Japanese Forums competitors. We kind of brought this up a little bit when Drew was on, right? And each of us didn't really share. Myself as also a Japanese Forums practitioner as well. I'm a Shotokan black belt, as well as Taekwondo, as well as American Freestyle. It's a big deal to me that there's so many different competitors, and also competing on circuits like NBL, where Japanese Forums were a big deal, and they're a lot different than they were on NASCA. And actually our competitors of the week, both will kind of go with this topic. So this is how we're going to kick this off. And then we're going to go into our main, we'll give you a little, our main topic, which is one that was brought up today. Who won the most money? Who won the most money? So we,
stay tuned for that one.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good one.
So going to here and then into that. All right. So give me a couple of people that come to your mind without including like your competitor of the week.
Yeah, what I don't want to do, and here's where I should probably put a disclaimer. I probably shouldn't. I feel like, hey, I know who's the top of what, but I actually don't feel like I really can know who's the best Japanese Forums competitor, because I've never actually done Japanese kata before.
Right. Well, and time out. I put this on here, and it should really say Japanese / Okinawan Forums competitor. So I apologize for that.
This is a great point.
Then when you guys saw my fingers and me trying to do that. So I just figured I would go ahead with Japanese. And if I put JAP/Oak, I've done that before, and people have gotten offended saying that was offensive. So
How is that offensive?
Never mind. We'll get into that another topic. Anyways,
I mean, it could just be me being naive. I'm not trying to say it's not. Just wondering.
Just
But anyway, maybe another time, another dollar or whatever. All right. So I've never actually competed with it. You know, I've had some people showing me some stuff, being like, all right, stuff looks kind of cool. Walking through it. Never actually been formally trained in any kind of Japanese martial arts Okinawan system. Never. All right. With that being said, some of the people that I think their shit is the bomb. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the guys who I think was most integral at the time when I saw him to me being absolutely hooked on martial arts competition was Gabe Renaga.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just go into it since you said it. Jeez.
Gabe Renaga.
Yeah.
If I have a competitor of the week, it's Gabe Renaga. All right. And I got to tell you this. So Gabe Renaga, let's put yourself into the 10, was I 10 or was I 11? I was 11 at that point. I was 11 years old. Okay. I'm 11 years old. I just started karate, right? Been in, I don't know, 5 months, 6, 5. Okay. So I'm in there. I'm probably a green belt, maybe purple belt. All right. And it's the Diamond Nationals. It's 1992, right? Everything is like, all I see, I'm like, this is amazing. That's Larry freaking Lamb, right? Somebody goes like, oh, he's a Ninja Turtle. I'm like, he's a what? That guy's the Ninja Turtle? My goodness. Like, yeah, all right? And then you see Richard Plowden won the Diamond Ring, right? Just like he was smashing people, right? Like, that, I get to do that? Like, no freaking way.
Right.
The coolest thing, watching Nikki Carlson axe kick the world, right?
Right.
And then would you see Gabe Renaga? Now, when you watch, for people who don't know, or if you've heard of him, you've heard about him, if you can YouTube this guy, do it, right?
Yeah.
He was a performer, right?
Yeah, he was a true performer. Yeah.
True performance. So he'd go up there, and I didn't really know how to handle it because just watching, I was going through so many things. I'm trying to process so many things because he's talking as he's doing his performance. All right. Now, he's as deep as he gets. Now, at that time, his ponytail was long. That thing was long. This is the thing you knew. It was a slick back. It was the early 90s. So it was kind of look too. Right. So long ponytail, big schnoz. Right.
Yeah.
Big schnoz. Like it was like the longer his hair got, the more you noticed the nose, right? Come on now. When he cut his hair, he didn't notice the nose as much, right?
Right. You're right. I didn't notice it all when he came back. You're right.
Right? But then you go back and you look at pictures and you're like, oh my gosh, your nose is really big. So anyway, he's doing it and he's talking throughout it. And I remember thinking at the time, like, can he actually get away with this? Is he supposed to do this? Right? Because what am I? I'm 11 years old. I don't really know that much. I've definitely never been to a competition of this size before.
Right.
Blowing my mind. Yet at the same time, I'm watching his performance, being like, how the hell is he doing that? This guy's so intense. He's screaming. Like, and at the time, they would put like, it was still the stage, same stage we all have been using for the past like 30, 40 years plus, right? But everybody around it was like all four sides were watching, which I actually kind of think that's cooler. If you're going to do it, just, it's kind of cool to do it that way. And then it was like the rickety stage where every step went, blah, 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 blah. The stage would just shake, right?
Which is cool, actually.
It actually is really cool because every stomp just made it look like you were like Thor, right? Or the Hulk, something like that, where you just shook the whole thing. So you take a form like that, you actually can get a lot more theatrics in. I mean, they were competing against each other, but let's say you took him and then Carmichael Simon, right? All right, Carmichael Simon's not going to make the stage shake that much because he's in the air half the time, right? So it's not going to have the same effect, but now he's grounded literally through the ground. It's just so freaking cool. So my mind blown. So at that point, I'm like, I need to do some forms like that. Not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
Probably 2 weeks later, I'm either testing for my purple belt or my blue belt. Can't remember which one. and I'm in the school. There's no mats. Nobody has mats, right?
No.
It's 1992. There wouldn't be mats for another like 10 years, right?
Right.
I'm doing my form, right? And I'm doing it. I'm stomping through this concrete with like little thin carpet. And because I'm trying to do it like Gabe Renaga. I've literally never told anybody this before, right? I'm doing pseudo box, just stomping, just trying to drive my feet through the ground and get as low as I can. Because I was trying to be like Gabe Renaga. I didn't know the difference that this guy was doing Japanese / Okinawan form, and I'm doing a Korean style. I just knew this guy was the bomb. Do it like that.
Right.
That's my mind. That's how my mind blew. That's Gabe Renaga for me. But as at that time, fast forward, Gabe Renaga, he was everything, right? He was Team Macho. Wasn't he Team Macho?
Team Macho, Team John Paul Mitchell.
John Paul Mitchell, of course, takes a break for extended years.
10 years.
Comes back on CJB.
Yep.
And that's the only team he could have been on because he's got that level of cool. And at that time, you come back in like 2002 and 3.
It was 2004.
My bad. You're right.
Yeah.
You are right. So I remember having a conversation with him. We're like, man, I got to tell you, you did it for me. Right. And he took it really, really well. It was cool. Hung out with me for a little bit. He's just such a cool guy. Right. But I remember that he played to the crowd like he didn't do the same thing every time. When he would be on a different stage, he would say different things to different crowds. Like he got it. He got what it was like to be
he was a true performer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fast forward a little more.
Understand nowadays is that kind of mix of how to take that real traditionalness and add it with the presence part, you know.
Somebody tag him. If somebody can do it, tag him. Yeah. This would be dope.
Yeah.
So fast forward even more.
Jiu-jitsu grappling competitor now.
That's what I was gonna say. He's not even. I don't want to say like he gave up on sport karate because so many guys have had that kind of stigma. But he's done it for decades and decades and decades. And we love martial arts. We want to keep doing it. This is the way to do it. You and I have already mentioned, I think last week on the pod, like we're gonna branch out as us. We're gonna dabble a little bit in some of these other systems, and we're gonna bring them in here, and we're all gonna enjoy them together.
Yeah.
But is he a BJJ black belt?
I believe so. If not a brown, yeah.
I think he was. I remember seeing him as a purple belt. He might be a brown belt.
Yeah, he might be. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to discount him. He's like legit been a black belt for a while. I'm not trying to discount him. This is me not knowing, right?
Right.
So, yeah, that guy did it for me.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so
that's one of mine.
Yeah. All right. I got a bunch of ones to mention their names. Another person that to me was just like that and coming up was the great Kevin Thompson that knew how to just control the stage. And, he really added the stomps in. Later on, I kind of realized, okay, you're not really supposed to do that. That's not really what you should be doing. But if you want to control the crowd, that's what you need to do. Now, on the other end, we can all say that we shouldn't stomp, but okay, if you get close to someone, guess what? I'm going to stomp on their foot and punch them in the face at the same time. So it's all perspective. All right, people. But yeah, I think, all right. I like how Brett is naming just areas of great people. And actually what's funny is that a lot of my guys are from those areas that he mentioned. So he's mentioned to him, the best 3 regions for Japanese Okinawan competitor were Vancouver area. Yep. One of my competitor week is from that area. SoCal, yeah, definitely. Actually, Gabe Renaga from that area. Butch Tokusala, another amazing competitor we talked about from that area. Upstate New York and Southern Ontario. Hey, my other one. He's been on the show. To me, he's the best. He's probably not my favorite, but he's the best, and that is Keith Weston. So this guy is just an all-around martial artist, man, and a true, he gets it. Go and search the Keith Weston episode, guys, if you want to hear, an inspiring martial artist that, just gets it, and just loves what he does, but really understands that each kata is something that he can like learn about and grow. Like it was really cool and have a, like he says, have a relationship with that kata, right? And make it your own. It was really cool. So
I did really like the way he approached that and vocalized
and
that.
so for me, the first time I saw Keith Weston live, I saw, you know, in the magazine and videos, but saw him live was at the Junior Internationals, and he just shook the stage. And I remember it was also the first time that Casey Marks saw him, and she was just like, you know, and to see her reaction to him made me respect him even more. Because to me at that time, this is 1998, Casey was the best there is in traditional forms and weapons and all this. And I see her be like, wow.
She was the standard for over the top intensity.
And so when he comes up and at this time, he's doing a lot of the Sanshin breathing on everything and, you know, all that extra stuff. But he's doing this for 3 minutes straight so he's like doing the real traditional stuff with that extra intensity that other people don't do. So, and then later on, he went on to a point where he didn't even do any of that anymore. It was all like almost no facial expression, no kihas, but just as intense. So to me, he's got to be number one.
And that's amazing that it just shows that, like we said, true performer, that he is not just able to do it one way, that he can,
correct,
you know, go back and forth and have the same kata.
Oh yeah,
have two totally different experiences with it.
Exactly. I know for me, a couple, you know, Andrew Cavallon is one that I always loved growing up watching him. One people always think of as one of, well, to most people, he's number one or number two or number three as best bow competitors all the time. But I loved Mike Bernardo's Unsu. I love watching him do Japanese forms. He was
how many before I want to stop you. I just want to get a clarification. How many are we listing?
Like
5?
No, we're just kind of talking. Well, I didn't want to do a top. I talk a little bit.
I'm just trying to figure it out. All right.
Yeah. So listen, you started with a competitor of the week when we said we weren't doing that. We were going to go at the end. So I'm throwing all the format out the door. All right.
All right. I'm known to screw things up.
All right. So my favorite is Keith Weston with a close, you know, of course, Casey Marks Nash, one of the best ever. But I have a lot of people that, especially people that watch us, still majority NASCA, okay? A lot of NBL competitors that people don't mention, okay? One, to me, is the greatest woman competitor in traditional forms ever to me. I still think, and she was one of the only people to beat Casey in NBL, and that is Daniela Barrientos. I've mentioned her many times on the show.
You have.
She is one of the best.
I think you've got a decent amount of
female competitor I've ever seen. She's from Mexico. I believe she lives lives in Dubai now, I believe. And so her and her husband own a 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. They owned one or two in Mexico and Texas and El Paso in the past. So she's a full-time CrossFitter as well as karate person. So it's pretty awesome to me. She's one of my favorites. So yeah, Andrew has some good ones. So you said Keith Weston, Ariel Torres, Mason Stowell, Kevin Thompson. Agree.
So I like the way he's doing that. And got insiders, you know, there's a number of you guys on. Chime in. Do what Andrew. I like doing it the way Andrew did. Show us what you guys got, and then we'll talk about that because
exactly.
I got a question. I got a couple questions for you, but I don't want to stop you. I don't want to cut you off because I'm really good at that.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So that's one to me is I think she's just amazing. As well as the other person I mentioned, Casey Nash. We mentioned her just the way that she's able to adapt from different forms to form and also compete in different circuits. Amazing to me.
Every third or fourth show we'll mention Casey.
Oh yeah. All right. Who's another one? I have about two or three.
So this is my question for you. All right.
Yeah. And I think one of the ones that I'm thinking in my head, you were going to mention as well. So
probably. All right. So my question for you, and Andrew brought him up, Ariel Torres.
Yes.
I got a 2-part question about Ariel. First, if all of our greats were in their prime and they competed against each other,
Yes.
would Ariel beat all of them?
That's a very tough one. I think he would be at the top. I think he'd be in the top 3. Are we talking?
I don't know, man. I'm asking the question. I don't know.
I feel
if
like
all of your greats.
But here's the deal. If you watch Ariel, he continues to get better and better and better.
I know. We don't even know what his what his best is.
So it's really cool to me.
Cement is not dry.
You know, I mean, and again, we're talking about Ariel, who now is working with Keith Weston as far, on a lot of different things. So that's awesome, right?
Trying to get those 14-pack abs, man.
Right. He's working on that. All right.
Okay, but wait, here's the second question.
That's not, don't hate. I listen, Cornell is a great martial artist. Will Cornell is a great martial artist. So
no, he's one of my favorite performers in this. Absolutely.
Awesome. All right.
Well, here's my second part question about Ariel.
Patricio Bell. Awesome.
I think Ariel's power. I'm asking you. I'm asking your opinion. Is his power better and stronger than everybody else? Is it? I don't know. I feel like it might be.
It is. I don't know if it is, but his athletic ability, kind of like what Andrew says, his athletic ability is. I think eventually Mason's going to be stronger than him, because if you look at just the way Mason, just the shape that Mason Stillwell is in, he will be.
I haven't seen that.
What I say with Andrew, the presentation, Kevin Thompson would be a hard to beat. I even think of you look at the presentation of Keith Weston, it's the same thing, Yes.
Well, look at what Andrew just said right here. And that's what I was thinking when we were talking about his power. Ariel is faster. You watch his transitions.
Strength, power are 2 different things, but yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. All right.
Those I like it.
So I got Gabe, I got Ariel. Now I've got another question about a guy I think I've got in there. What about John Sue?
Yeah, that's another one that has to be brought up.
Well, here's my question. Is John Sue one of the greats, or I'm asking your opinion about possibly why I think John Sue is so great. Or is it that I just see the Taekwondo in him transferring over into his Japanese Okinawan form?
Okay, so when you look at John Sue's form, what could you find wrong with the technique?
Oh, I can't.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's, to me, like a competitor like that is so awesome. You don't have to have so much. Like, I think sometimes you look so much at the power, but you don't realize their feet suck. Their feet are not planted on the ground. They're not doing that. They're falling forward on their punches. There's a lot of people in Japanese Okinawan forms doing that now that don't have solid foundation. And if you aren't rooted to the ground, it doesn't matter how many all of this you do and you make all the noise. It doesn't matter. Okay. So John Sue was amazing at that. He did both. He went and competed in NASCA, and then he went in NBL and took all the kias out, all the extra balance moves out.
Still won.
And he won. And he went against Keith Weston, and they went head to head. So he is one of the greats. I don't believe that, Andrew. I think he would adapt to that. John Sue would adapt to it, because I've seen John Sue do it.
I think his style. I think it's because the style, right? Because we've already seen him adapt.
Yeah.
To different styles, but I think the way we watched his style and his performance, like if you took that performance and you took Mason's performance, Mason would beat him.
Right.
But he was competing against what was there. We've already seen him adapt. He has given us reason to believe that he would change.
Right. All right. Another one has to be mentioned to me is one of the most rawest competitors, and that's Joey Castro. He's continued to get better. He has just a complete list of forms that he can do. Okay. He can go up and say, I'm going to do this form. I'm going to do this form.
I think that's what separates him from some of the others.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. this is what's awesome. Okay. So Chris was talking about one of the favorite divisions I had in my tournament was what I call the traditional foundation division, right? Was where the black belts competed doing the beginner level forms, right? Because we never get to see the best compete with the basic forms, right? We just see yellow belts doing Taioku Shodan or, Chunji or something like that. A little, and it's like, man,
I don't know any of those forms you just mentioned, right?
all we always see is, like an eye kata, right? Like low block punch, low block punch, low block punch, punch,
Oh,
punch.
yeah,
Right?
gotcha.
Okay. Or the other basic ones. We don't see the best do those, right? And so that was my thing. Let's, and I also want to see some black belt instructors kind of get out there. You know what? Maybe they're not competing at that high level, but they teach these forms every day and they can go out and do them. And so that's how I started off my tournament one year. And he went and did it. And the one form that my students were like, the only form I know I'm not going to do is Heian Sandan. All right. Heian Sandan has, like you have your hands on your hips and you do elbow blocks and you do crescent kicks and stuff. It's just a little awkward. Right. And he goes, all right, I'm going to do it.
Sounds awkward.
Did it and nailed it. Right. And so I just love, how awesome a competitor he is. Okay. There's one more competitor that I want to mention, before we go to the next topic, because this is going a lot longer.
Well, I got a few I got to mention too, but go ahead.
All right. So my competitor of the week is someone that hasn't been mentioned, and he is from that Vancouver area, actually, Canada area, and that is Kenny Lim. All right. Kenny Lim, to me, is one of the strongest competitors and cleanest competitors. And this is an era where we were coming from a lot of the heavy breathing in NBL, all the extra, right? And Kenny Lim took all that out and just showed the real power. So when he would punch the whole, without stomping, the whole stage was shaked, right? And you had that intensity and you had that, just that control of the stage, control of just everybody, right? And so he competed on the NBL circuit for about a good 3-4 years, right? And he won both of those, maybe 2 years. And then the next year just went in little tournaments and just had his students going everywhere, right? So check him out, look him up on Facebook, Kenny Lim, an amazing competitor, has his guys competing on the traditional circuit. The Wynn brothers were amazing. He had great competitors under his school. One year, I think all of his competitors won the NBL title. Just an amazing person. Yeah, he was one of the first with more of a WKF style form. Okay, so without the extra, maybe lower stances and stuff that we saw a lot of. But yeah, he was one of the first to win with that WKF style form in open martial arts. So I had to bring him up. He's one of my favorite competitors, but also one of my favorite people. Just a great guy. So look him up and check out his school.
Well, I think before we move off this topic,
yes,
we brought up Will Cornell, and I think he's one of the true performers. Kind of what you mentioned when you said, when you watched John Su's form, did you see anything wrong? I think once Will Cornell reached his peak, he got to that point where he did some of that as well. Mm-hmm. All right. I don't think his intensity was over the top as powerful as some of the other guys like in his division, like Scott Wu, but he's better than Scott Wu. Right.
Yeah.
I think the knock was that he didn't make, he just kind of made those forms.
Yeah. Right.
However, he didn't make those forms. Somebody else did. And she needs to be mentioned.
Yeah.
That is Suzanne Wankett.
Right.
Suzanne Wankett, all right. She is, because she just kind of was for like a few years. It was like, all right, if you really want to take your Japanese form to the next level and you want to outsource, you want to really search somebody to really learn from, boom, Suzanne Wankett was available and training everybody. Right.
That's awesome. Yeah. She's an amazing competitor. Two more people that we need to kind of mention from the era before, and we actually talked about this from watching that Bermuda video. And one was Domingo Lagos. I'm trying to think if that's how you say his name. Domingo, amazing competitor. go and watch that video. You'll see his forms and just the smoothness and just showing the actual full technique, right? Not trying to like, and all this extra stuff.
Yeah.
He really just showed true karate. And so it was really awesome to see that. He was one of the top competitors back then. Yep. Domingo Llanos.
Okay.
And then
Tell me another one.
the other one is someone who I feel like was the first to do that NASCA-esque style that maybe like Gabe Bernaga eventually started doing and other guys do. And that was, how did it just blank on me? He also created the selfie, actually.
What?
Yeah, he created the selfie. Help me out here. He was in pro wrestling. Oh my God.
How could someone create a selfie?
There we go. Sonny Ono. All right. So Sonny Ono.
Oh, yeah.
Ono,
I've heard stories like
also,
about him, like he was Paul Bunyan or something.
A great competitor. And he did a lot of these, like he added in his form, or I guess maybe it wasn't added, but it was from the style that he did, right? Which is more of a, I believe is American.
Yeah, tell me about it because I don't know anything about him. Well,
So,
I take that back. I've only heard stories.
Right.
Tell me some real ones.
Better, he would finish his form with cat stances and then all of a sudden do this jump where he like jumped and crossed his legs, like almost looked like he was like tap dancing or something, right? Yeah, Genshu Ryu stylist.
Dope.
But it was like he was just stomping on people in different ways. It was just wild and crazy, right? And he added the extra woo, like almost like the Bruce Lee stuff in there.
Yeah.
Did that extra flavor into it. He was a great competitor. Also an amazing super lightweight fighter in full contact. So he did both. And then he went on to be the translator for Eric Bischoff in WCW with New Japan Pro Wrestling to get a lot of people back and forth. And then he became a pro wrestling manager, and he also helped bring in Ernest Miller into WCW. So this guy's done it all, man. So Sonny Ono, man.
That's pretty dope. All right.
So we went 42 minutes.
No. We got one more guy to mention. We absolutely have one more guy to mention.
Go.
And he is the sport martial arts Swiss Army knife, who is definitely very good at this, and that is Chris freaking Walker. You knew I was going to say it too, didn't you?
Yes, Chris is amazing.
Chris Walker. When I first met him, he's part of the network, man.
Right.
But when I first met him, I didn't actually meet him when I first saw him. Right. I just thought it was this extreme forms like guru. Like I think it was 2000, and he's doing standing full twists, and I'm like, what? People didn't do that, right? It was so cool. It was just like, this just tells you the level of cool that Butch Marks has. Butch Marks was like, all right, everybody get over here. You got to watch this kid. Watch this guy. Do that again. And he was doing that. So I thought, oh, that's what this guy does. Yeah. Wow, he's really cool. No, that's not what this guy does. This guy literally does everything that martial arts has to offer, right? And is actually kind of aggravating. What does he do bad?
Oh, bad? Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. What have you watched him just fail at?
It's
right?
True.
Would you never watch him be like, you probably shouldn't have made that decision. You should have stayed out of that division. There isn't one, right?
Right.
Man. So Chris Walker, very, very good. When he came back a few years later, and I think he said he was just going to go. I think he and his mom said, we're just going to do a few tournaments and just see if anybody picks me up. And then Joe Greenhow was like, right away, you could be on my team.
Yep.
All right. And then, he went out there and I think he tied for like the grand championship, like the very first tournament he came back to when he was competing. He tied for the overall, I think it was like Steve Terada. It was amazing.
Yep. Yeah, it was really cool. So great competitor, man. Awesome guy. All right. So our topic, who won the most money? All right. So
man.
From someone posted from the 1985 NAKC rankings, and
Anthony
at the bottom it had top earners, right? Which is a cool thing to do. Actually, you see this a lot in tennis, in boxing, in other individual type sports, golf, right? Who was the top earner? Even actually skateboarding and things like that. They have that. Who won the most money? So this was a cool thing that they used to do. So it just sparks. We can't say, all right, we'll compare this to that. We'll get to that maybe in another time. But let's just talk about who won the most money this year. And let's just look at, we're only going to look at first, then we'll make this question. We'll have this question later. But at the NASCAR World events, okay? So mention your guesses, one competitor, guys, on who you think won the most, all right? We're going to break down a few. Like, for me, I only have like 3 people that I can really bring up. There's other people that we just haven't had the time to really do it. We may be able to. But let's look at, say, a Bailey Murphy, right? So
what do you guys think he earned?
So let's look. His first tournament this year wasn't really like NASCAR wise, wasn't until Battle of Atlanta, right? So he won the overalls, which is 500, and then he won the Warrior Challenge, which was 500. So that's 1,000. He didn't win teams, all right? So that's 1,000. We're not.
But it's hard to tell on teams because teams is never the same.
Right.
Teams can be 300, teams
open
could be 500.
And sometimes I don't know. Let's say most of the time open weight is what, 1,000? Most of the time. Sometimes it's not. Yeah. So that's a little hard to.
In a normal world, yeah.
All right. Yeah. For women's and forms, it's easy, but let's actually break down like how much money she actually won. Okay, let's actually do that. So that's 1,001 tournament there. Was he? I thought he won the lightweight grand at U.S. Open, but I don't remember if he was there or not. If not, no, he not in NASCAR. He didn't win 13K. All right, so that's 1,500 if he did, right? Capital Classics, he won the overalls, he won the open weight, and he won the teams. So let's say what, 2,000 maybe right there. So looking at 2,000 plus another 3,000, 3,500 so far. Amerikick, right? Did he win everything in Amerikick? Correct me.
I believe so.
I believe so. So 500, and he won the extra 500 for VFT. So that's 1,000. Then he won open weight, which I think was 500. It might have been actually more. They actually may have given more money actually at Amerikick, I believe. So add that in there. Diamonds, here we go with diamonds, 500. The open weight, which is 1,000, and then teams. So we're looking at what, guys? What are we looking at? Maybe 6,000, 7,000. Actually, not with those numbers at first. Probably not, but I'm thinking that Amerikick had a bigger prize. Yeah, so maybe it could be possible for 13K again for some of the fighters.
But that's only if they do some kind of weird division.
Right. We're talking about this year only, Carmichael, comparing this year to that. All right. So now we're looking at, so Joey Castro actually, a lot of his money actually came from the senior grands this year. So like at Ocean States, he won 200 for senior forms. He left before the grands that night, so he didn't win the 500. So he gets 200 there. At the Battle, he gets 400 for winning both senior grands. At U.S. Open, he won the traditional grand and the senior forms grand, so that's 700. Capitals, he won all 3, so that's 900. And then Diamonds, he won the forms and then the traditional forms, so that's 700. So at 1,400, 1,800, 2,000, 2,900. So almost $3,000.
Guy basically didn't lose all year.
Right. So
it didn't crack 3K.
Right. Well, he did lose to Mason when Mason came, right?
Yeah, basically. So, what did he lose? He lost once? A couple times, possibly?
Right. And so Mason
3K?
went to maybe 3-4 tournaments this year. He would win the 500. So at 4 events, he won 500. That's $2,000. And then 2 events or 1 event had an extra 500. So still, that's only $2,500. Okay, for that. So, we look at Haley Glass, which I'm not doing these banners very well. Sorry, guys. She probably had the best. She had, what did I say? It was 6,500 because she won AKA forms. She didn't win weapons. She won compete forms. Ocean State, she won all three, which was they had an extra. Remember that overall, like almost like open weight forms, super forms. They did that at Ocean State, so she won 1,500 there. The battle, she won 1,500 because she won weapons forms and the overall.
Okay.
And then U.S. Open, she won both, so that's 1,000. Diamond, she won both, that's 1,000. Pan Am, she won both, that's 1,000. So 6,500. That's probably makes her the top NASCAR earner, right?
And what does that get her to?
6,500. Right.
Damn near 40 years later.
I haven't looked at, someone that wins like senior, like Yoskar. But again, it can't be that much. If he goes, some of the grands he's won 400 where he's won both, and a good amount he did, and he went to probably more tournaments than anybody, but it still wouldn't add up. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it's just interesting, about that, of how that's going to be. We'll get a big chunk, including when the $1,000 grands come back. But the other thing is, runner-up money has to come back. It has to come back. All right. Here's the other thing. How many of these people actually won more money going to other events? I know Bailey's
absolutely
went to some tournaments, won $2,000, $3,000. Joey Castro, has won some of the local tournaments up there, giving out 500 for a local event.
So
he probably has. I know for me, my biggest money I've earned at other events throughout this year, just going to different stuff, So the one year that I won, let's see. Now this wasn't all national events, but I just remember, I don't even remember the cash number, but I remember how many grands. I won 15 grand championships that year, right? And so and I think that was like 2009, and then I did it again in like 2012 or something like that. But yeah, so it's real interesting just on that. So imagine if all those were $1,000 grands, right?
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's look at, Andrew said a couple of things here that I want to look at. Go to the first, the $100 thing. So Andrew brings up a fantastic point that I think should absolutely be there. Bring back $100 prize money for divisions.
Correct.
Yes. What it does is it makes a huge emphasis on winning your division.
Correct. And it actually pays for your division now, since that's how much one division costs.
You know what? I didn't want to get in. We're going to get into it a little deeper on another show.
Yep.
On another show. But I'm going to take, all right, since we talked about it, take a guess. Jeff, take a guess what it cost my 5-year-old daughter.
Oh, we talked about this.
Did we already talk about this?
Yeah, $240.
Oh, it wasn't quite that. It was $218.
Okay.
This is without any spectator passes at all. Do 2 divisions.
That's insane, because it cost me that much to do 4 divisions or whatever, 5 divisions. But I did it early. You waited till the day of.
But what are we doing? Like,
I know, I agree. Like listen, like right now, there's an event coming up in January, and this is the early bird prices. And for me to do 4 divisions, it's that much, $200 and something, right? Almost $300. So
maybe it'll be next week, maybe it'll be the week after, but we're going to get into this pretty heavily. But and then we'll move on.
We're going to bring on promoters.
We'll bring somebody else on, but there's a couple, because I want to touch on a few things that Andrew just said right here. But I'm just going to drop this little nugget, and then we'll go off of it. I think we are getting to the point where we are not. The sport is not for everybody, and the sport is getting to the point where it's only for the rich.
Exactly.
You're alienating not just your competitors, but your actual practitioners to even want to do the sport. Because if all you did was practice basketball, but you never played basketball, what are you doing? Right?
Right.
He's dribbling and shooting together. Let's do that in my freaking backyard. Right?
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah, well, I mean,
Not the same. I understand. It's not the
it
same.
makes it where the competitor or the parent has to think, okay, should I just stop paying tuition this month for that career high school so I can go to this tournament? Right?
No, that sounds ridiculous. You can never do that. So then what you're saying is this
Right.
sport
That,
costs this much money,
right.
right?
Right.
It's just so, we'll get, like I said, I started to open the box, guys. Just here's a little teaser, and I'm going to actually bridle my tongue for a moment. We'll get back to that next time. All right. So I want to get into something else. He said, look at what he said about Michigan. He said Michigan locals give out $400.
Yeah.
For grants. That's a big deal. Think about that. For a Michigan local will give out $400 for a grand, but the Diamonds gave $500.
Correct. And now they have more grands to give out. It's a little different than only having 2 grands to give out.
A person, that's just because.
No, I know one competitor for one division is $100 or $120. So yeah.
Well, let's just say it like this. I'm just going to use him for example because he's from there, and we're talking about Michigan. Let's just say Avery Plowden. Okay, Avery Plowden from Michigan. It would make more sense for him if there was a tournament on that same weekend to say, it doesn't make sense for me to go to the Diamond Nationals. It makes sense for me to go to Michigan ABC tournament. Right. Because while it's almost 100% certainty I will win this $400. Right. Yeah, I'm very freaking good. I could win this $500, but what is it going to cost? Excuse me. What's it going to cost me to go win that $500? You see what I'm saying? Like eventually your prize money is not a prize. Your prize money doesn't even cover your expenses. Not even close.
Yeah. Sorry, we had a block someone. That is the first time we've had something kind of crazy happen in our chat. So hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. All right.
Oh, I didn't even pay attention. You'll have to tell me later.
So yeah, I mean, I know for me, like that was one reason why I didn't go to Ocean State, because I can go 2 hours down the road and win $500, then spend all of that, thousands, and maybe get 500. So, yeah, same here, Brett. But yeah, it was just crazy. So for us, it's not really, let's see, 150 is kind of the normal in Virginia tournaments, which is still kind of sad that it's that
for
less.
But for the grand?
Yeah, I say for a forms grand, 150, fighting grand, 150, and then sometimes they'll give more money if you bring like 20 competitors. They'll say, all right, we're going to give you $300 if you bring 20 competitors, which you should probably still get more than that, but that's just the way it is, right? Whatever. Some people are stuck in the ways. North Carolina tournaments, some of them are still giving 100 or 200. Actually, a lot of times fighting grand's 200, forms grand is 150. There's a few events though that do 250 for everyone, which I think that's a good number, especially when you have traditional grand, open grand, women's fighting, men's fighting, senior fighting. You got 5 grands right there. They're 250. That's not bad. You know what I mean? When you think about it, 400 would be great, but those a few of those bigger events, bigger regionals, I would say, do that. So,
there's this term we keep saying, we keep throwing out there, like we're just saying it to say stuff. Keep saying the grand.
Right.
It's not very grand.
No, it's not a grand.
We should really get, and I don't mean in the sense of the dollar. Like, we're saying grand as short for grand championship.
Championship, not a grand.
It is not very grand.
No.
It's not a grand championship. To say, like, listen, if you were to go to somebody who doesn't know anything about open sports martial arts competition, and you tell them, like, I just did a karate tournament yesterday, and you tell them, and they say, well, how did you do? And you say, I went first place. They assume there was nobody else who won. You are the winner, right? To explain that, no, there's 214 people who won first place for the black belts.
Right.
In my age category.
Not in your age category.
That doesn't make much sense. Right? Well, I was the champion Okay, that tells a little bit of a different story.
Right.
You were the champion. Oh, but there was like 17 of us.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that mean? But I was the grand champion. Okay, that tells it a little different now. Now there's definitely nobody better than you. No, there was actually 11 of us. What the hell does that mean? It's not grand. There used to be a time where you entered, and I'm not a fan of this,
Right.
where there was one person who was the fighting overall champion, one person who was the forms overall champion. They didn't like that because then that meant men and women. It should be separate, men and women, fighting and form, fighting and form. And I'm okay with splitting weapons as well, because you should. But what are we doing? They're all down. They're all down. Lindsay's gonna come say hi.
Hey, Lindsay.
That's a microphone.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
What are we doing?
We're live right now. I told everybody too. I had the kids down without you. I got them down early.
Alex.
Yeah, Mr. Mom.
Spider-Man. That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Jeff, you didn't even comment on my mug. You like my mug?
I do. I love that mug. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So again, we're getting a wrap up. Man, dang it, we missed it by a minute, almost 2 minutes. But
man.
But anyways, this has been a fun conversation.
Am I right?
One thing though with this, do we think that doing that again is actually a cool thing? Like listing top earners. Why not? I don't think the NASCAR would do that because it would show how.
Then it sheds the light that earning
But
has
I think
calmed
that
down.
maybe the media should be, right, or we should be doing that, or Sport Marshal. Like we could all do this, or a magazine can do this. So yeah.
Look at Thomas.
I love it. Oh man.
This is my Christmas sweater. The insiders know. Check this one
We don't
out.
see
This one's good too.
There we go.
Check this out.
Come on.
This is a great one.
Oh man. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much. Go check out Virtual Fight Tour. The documentary is coming out soon. And they got an event that Thomas will be fighting in coming up very soon. Can't wait to hear the date. And guys, go and support our Patreon page. We're going to be bringing out more and more of that to you. And get ready because next week we have a special guest. I'll announce it later on in the week on who we have. And then we have a couple other big ones to finish out this month. So it's going to be awesome.
Oh, wait, time. Look at the Thomas just dropped.
Oh, February 4th.
Is that when Grudge Match is going down?
Oh, man, I hope so. What's up, Ron?
Oh. Dude, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking about something about Thomas.
Actually, I want to talk about something with Ron Jenkins next week as far as that has to do with him and his team. So, a story. All right, go ahead.
No, I was thinking about something about Thomas. I was just thinking about him last night as I was training. But we're going to save it for next week.
All right.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week. Have a blessed one, guys.